an attempt to silence
He's got a picture of himself
that are emanating from communities of color in the state of Texas. It is racist.
He has a crucifix. It's just him.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. What a self-important prick. This is all over the news this morning, and it's kind of funny. So
we're going to fight
by
running.
Yeah. Over the weekend, all of the Democrat lawmakers, or most of them, I don't know if it's all of them, I should be careful. I deal in hyperbole sometimes.
Enough of them.
They fled the state. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, because finally some people were going to be arrested, like people who took a walking tour on January 6th. No. They fled the state as a way to fight, to try and deny Republicans' plans to redistrict on a very reasonable level, by the way.
Now to Texas Republicans advancing a plan to revise their congressional map in an attempt to give the GOP an edge in the midterms. Tonight, Texas Democrats left the state to delay passage of the bill. This is some governors are crying foul and others are threatening to take similar actions across several states.
The proposed map could flip 5 seats from likely wins by Democrats to Republicans. The move could help them keep their razor-thin House majority by carving up cities like Deep Blue Austin into multiple red districts, leaving just one Democratic stronghold in the center.
Yes, fight by running away to states that you don't represent. Even some national representatives joined in on this fight, or I should say this fighting technique. Unfortunately, not all of them had the stamina.
Damn, I'm tired, dead ass. I'm about to take my ass home. Can't be out here messing with you fools. Got my weave all messed up. Psst. Y'all got me f***ed up.
Yeah, she makes a point.
She's the people's champion.
Yeah, well, she's about to be out of a job.
This is not the first time they've done it, by the way. They did it in 2003, and by they, I mean Democrats, for pretty much the same reason. But there's a lot of misinformation out there on this topic. It's time for Claim Truth. And this is one that I get it. I understand that to a lot of people it can seem boring, but you need to know that this is a hill that the left is willing to die on. They're actually running away to try and gum up the process here. And it is important to, let me just lay down the groundwork here. Actually, these new districts make a whole lot more sense. So let's go through some of these claims, check the references. Claim number one, that gerrymandering, redistricting, whatever term you want to use, it is specifically a tool of the Republican elite used to cheat.
Well, they also cheat by gerrymandering, right? Because there's no real Republican platform.
Or claiming they won
when they didn't.
Giving the president 5 new seats by tearing up communities of color, by tearing up coalition districts, is dangerous for America and gives him an authority to do something that he should not do, all because he's scared of investigations.
If we fight for fairness, if we make sure that we get the number of seats that we are entitled to, both in the state legislature as well as in the House of Representatives, on the basis of fair criteria, Democrats and progressives will do just fine. Republicans have to cheat in order to win.
So it's a Republican thing. Here's the truth, okay? Both parties do it. And yes, both parties have probably done something that would be questionable to some degree. I would argue Democrats do that a whole lot more. And in some cases, redistricting makes a whole lot of sense. We'll get to that. But the truth is both parties do it. And Democrats have used this to their advantage for a very long... Let me give you some examples here of maps. Because when they say Republicans cheat, and usually when they tell you something racism, it's designed to break up black districts, you know it's a lie. But bring up Illinois. So here's Illinois. This is before... right? Trump won some of these rural districts in 2020 by an average of 2 points. And then you look at after. Is that in the same overlay?
Yeah, same overlay.
Look, so before and after. Right? Then you had 2 new Democrat districts that were in rural Illinois, the 13th and 17th district, and they went for Harris by an average of 7.6 points. So you can see that right there in Illinois. Let's look at another one. Nevada in 2022. So if you look at this, there's your before and after. Nevada's 3 Democratic representatives, they were reelected by an average of 6.1 points, in spite of the fact that Trump won the state by 3.1 points. And by the way, that map in Nevada was rated an F by Princeton University. This has happened on
very
both.
Imaginative. Yeah.
No, it's happened on both sides. Both parties do it. And by the way, that's never going to change. So the question that needs to be asked is, are these districts as representative of the people in those districts as possible? I would argue that Democrats don't even take that into account.
No, I agree. And listen, just to set this up too, to some degree, it's very hard to draw these things out. It's not like just straight lines.
No.
It's not like an easy process to just pick counties either, because you're going to run into some problems that way. So yes, it's going to always be a little bit messy. And if it works out to your advantage, you're going to be happy. And if it doesn't, then you're not. But let's be honest about what's actually happening. None of those maps looked reasonable.
No.
Right? To somebody saying, well, this needs to be just completely fair across the board.
Right.
Because there's so much within those maps and lines going like half the state and trying to capture something. Doesn't make any sense.
Here's the next claim that they are making. And this is where right away, if ever you hear the claim, it doesn't mean that it never happens. But if they say something racist, you should immediately assume that they're lying. Use that as the jumping off point, because their claim is the new Texas map is actually racist.
We're talking about this as partisan gerrymandering, and it is. But make no mistake, in Texas, Republican gerrymandering is racial gerrymandering, and it's illegal.
I am here to urge the members of the Texas legislature to say no to
the white
racism and the racially discriminatory redraw of congressional maps.
A map that seeks to use racial lines to divide hard-working communities who have spent decades building up their power and strengthening their voices.
This is nothing more than an attempt to silence
He's got a picture of himself
that are emanating from communities of color in the state of Texas. It is racist.
He has a crucifix. It's just him.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. What a self-important prick. Yeah, people willing to stand up. Oh, who's that?
That looks like my cave.
That's like when I gave you a ride and I played my my album.
I put my mixtape in. Just want to see if I can get a deal.
So here's the truth. And this one is really straightforward. This redistricting actually fixes existing racism. So the current lines that make no sense, they're drawn around race, to be clear. And then in 2019, the Supreme Court ruled that it was constitutional to draw lines based on political performance and not race.
There you go.
Let me give you an example. So when they say this is racism, no, you drew lines based on race, and then we ended up with a problem where people weren't actually represented by their representatives. It's almost like representatives should represent their people. We ended up with the opposite of that because something racism. Let me give you an example. Dallas District 33 and Houston District 9. These districts, as they exist, or as they exist right now, they're minority coalition districts. So District 33, 82% non-white, so Kamala plus 34. District 9, 82% non-white and voted Kamala by plus 44.
Wow.
So in 2024, a federal court determined that minority coalition districts are unconstitutional.
Oops.
So the new lines would be a more accurate or more fair representation of the population, as well as constitutional.
Yes, I mean, one might say that's the big one.
I didn't hear about that on CNN or ABC or NBC this weekend.
Yeah, play that first clip again where she says, and actually it's illegal. She is telling that audience the exact opposite of the truth with multiple Supreme Court, federal court rulings, and longstanding precedent. Listen to her. It is an outright lie.
We're talking about this as partisan gerrymandering, and it is. But make no mistake, in Texas, Republican gerrymandering is racial gerrymandering, and it's illegal.
That's enough. The exact opposite of the truth. Even the New York Times wrote this. They admitted that the redistricting was actually pretty fair. They said Democrats would still be favored to win the House if the election were held today on the new map.
Jeez.
So I want you to look at those lines, look at how the left has redistricted these lines, and I do think that one of the seats that would be Crockett.
Yeah, so this actually is an area of Dallas that I'm very familiar with. South of a particular highway that runs through Dallas is a very urban community, right? And north of that is a very affluent community that is less urban. And to say that those two things should be represented by Jasmine Crockett, she would never be caught dead in the other one. She's a product of private school and the very finest that education can give you. Like, she's not somebody who identifies with that. But more to the point, like, a bunch of people that live in that area don't have any kind of a voice at all. And so what they're saying is that it's going to disenfranchise Black and Hispanic people. Well, I don't remember which one is which, so fact check me, guys, in research. I think the redistricting created one new majority Black community and two new Hispanic majority districts.
Oh.
One or the other. It's either two Black and one Hispanic or one Hispanic and two Black. And the argument there is like, yeah, but it's just barely. They just barely have the majority. And I'm like, well, then get them to vote like every other person in America has to do if they want their voice to be heard. You have the majority. What else do you want? You want a super majority? You want 80% so that people can be lazy and not participate in government and just keep the district?
And I guarantee you the left looks at the tables right now, the trends, and they do not want Hispanic majority districts. They're like, no, more blacks, less Hispanics. But hold on a second, I thought they were part of your coalition. Yeah, that's them balsams.
Why run to Chicago, by the way?
Yeah, they ran to Illinois.
You could go to Oklahoma, Louisiana, New Mexico, like places around here. I mean, go down to Cancun if you want for a minute. I have no idea. Why do you get on a plane and go, oh, that's right, because this is all a political stunt, and Pritzker wants a little bit of camera time.
Yeah, he's not going to run halfway to meet you.
No, he can't run anywhere to meet anybody for anything.
No. What were you going to say, Josh?
I forget.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gerald interrupted you.
My fault.
That's okay.
Admonish him for all the interruptions.
Oh, I was going to say, it sounds like a bad way of cheating.
Yes.
Doesn't sound very effective.
Okay, no,
if you're going to cheat and that's how you do it, that's a really bad way to do it.
Do you ever just say, like, we're too close to this? Do you ever just go, wait a second. Government shouldn't work this way. Like in any other game or competitive event, it's like, all right, you're leading 5-2. Oh, they're gone. They ran away. So we're just going to put the game on pause for a week and a half.
Ever.
It's silly. It's childish. They absolutely shouldn't be able to do this. You were assigned, you were voted in to represent your people. Represent your people. Right. Stand there and fight. And then they have the gall to say, conservatives want to cheat. By the way, Governor Abbott, he's a wheelchair guy. He's now laid down the law, and he told the Democrats that it would be $500 a day in fines, and that they may face felony charges if they fundraise to pay those fines.
Yes, and they may have already committed.
Some of them may have already done that.
By doing so.
There you go.
And to be clear, for what I said earlier, not what I just said, because that was correct.
Well, it's for interrupting Josh. And threatened to have their seats vacated if they don't return by today, 3 p.m. So get back here. You're going to be charged a fine.
Yeah.
If you do any fundraising to try and pay those fines, you could face felony charges. And if you're not back here by 3, your seat's going to be vacated. That's how you deal with these people. Now, I hope he follows through.
Is that an already set in stone law? Is that like something that he's referencing?
What?
Or is that like a new policy?
Which one?
Saying that you'll lose your seats and $500 fine. And
that's already set in stone. And basically, it's an opinion.
So they did this that's already on the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's an opinion. Just to be clear, it's an opinion issued by the Texas AG on the law. Now, obviously, that'll be fought in courts, but in the meantime, he can appoint people in those places. He's literally saying, get back here, do your jobs. And he said in his letter, he said, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. And most of the time we handle it like adults and everybody moves on. And that's part of how we run this state. Get back here, do your job. You lost this one. Maybe you'll win the next time around. Who knows? Maybe you can lobby a little bit more effectively with your counterparts and make this happen. But if you don't, then I'm going to invoke this law and remove you from your seat, because when the governor calls, I believe, a special session for this, they have to show up. They're supposed to. It says they shall show up. They're not. And then he's saying, I'm going to put somebody else in who's going to represent.
It doesn't sound very Texan to me. I've only been here for a year and a half, but running away doesn't sound very Texan to me.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't embody that whole Texan vibe that I've been getting. This whole, remember what are they saying? Forget the Alamo?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just run away.
All hope is lost. Run away.
Yeah. It's not very inspiring.
It's a different thing.
No.
Doesn't make for a good model.
Custer's last lay down.
Custer's last never should have fought this battle. Yeah. But listen, why did they run to the north too? There's so many historical things here. It's like,
well, I mean, south isn't much better.
No, I mean to a traditional northern, kind of state. It's just like all the optics in this are really bad, and it's never worked. It's never worked before.
Right.
And it's really hard to paint this as standing up and fighting when you're just running away. Like, you can't do anything about it. It's constitutional. If you have a problem, go through the court system. If you have a court victory, great. Good for you. You don't have that.
Well, the left's proposal to deal with these, by the way, once they get the districts that they want, it always ends up being complicated. There are many proposals. It's kind of like ranked choice voting, where they go, actually, it should be determined by this committee, or it should be determined by this individual that should be permanent. It's like, well, hold on a second. Wouldn't you rather these districts be determined at least in a way that's competitive, where parties can fight so it can be corrected? Because you know that these districts and these cities, these counties, populations change. Where do you live right now? If you've lived, let's say, in the same place for 20 years, how has it changed since you've been there? Just think about that. And you should have representation that matches the current makeup of that district. So it's going to happen. These districts are going to change. What kind of a system do you want in place? And I would say, what kind of a system has the most checks and balances? I don't like it when Democrats do it. But I would certainly prefer a system where Democrats can do it and then Republicans can do it, and at least it can be competitive. They always want to, pack the court, and then they want to lock people out. Or they go, we didn't get it this way. Let's actually add new seats to the court. They always want you to trust your institutions until it doesn't favor them. Then they want to change it. The Electoral College. Do away with it. By the way, my opinion on that is if they did away with the Electoral College, no, I don't think it would be right. I think Democrats would be in for a rude awakening. Yeah. Because I think a lot of Republicans in states like California and states like New York, they don't go out and vote because they're very pragmatically minded. And they go, well, my vote doesn't really matter in this state anyway. I think if you were to go by a popular vote, you would actually...
Totally different.
I think it would be a shot in the arm of the Republican voting base, and I think you would actually fare worse, Democrats, especially after this last election. But they want to do away with the Electoral College, okay. They want to do away with the way that we currently redistrict, okay. They want to do away with the longstanding precedent of the Supreme Court and just add seats, okay. So what institutions do they really want you to trust? What they really mean is just trust us. Mm-hmm. We know best. And in this case, they're trying to sell you a bill of goods, and they're trying to say, hey, this is racist. Right? You should be opposed to something that goes back and forth every couple of years, every few years. You should be opposed to it, and you should support us running because it's racist. And just think about it. This is the theme today, Jesus Christ Superstar. You look at people protesting American Eagle and Sydney Sweeney, and you look at Democrats right now running. In every single case, they hold themselves up as these pillars of bravery, of boldness, of risk-taking, and they always take the safe position. When was the last time a Democrat actually took a risk with a countercultural opinion?
Fetterman.
That's exactly.
Fetterman.
That's the exact person's name that popped into my head.
Fetterman. I mean, besides that, you make a good point. And then you're right. If they took away the Electoral College, I would be shocked. Like, I didn't vote in 2008, 12, or 16. Living in Washington.
Yeah.
That's the point.
I know a lot of...
Trump won in 16, but I wasn't a fan of him back then either, so it wouldn't matter. But I didn't vote in 8, 12, or 16. I'm like, why would I vote? I live in Tacoma.
That's a foregone conclusion. So they always want to do away with these institutions.
Well, the first thing that they said is it's racist. The second thing, when it became very clear that it wasn't racist, was, okay, we'll get rid of gerrymandering in general. It's like, okay, well, how do you draw lines?
Right.
It's always going to be subjective to some degree. Why don't we just make it based on performance? Wait a minute, that's what we just did.
Right.
Solve the problem. You're never going to be happy. Don't give an inch. Let these be the districts. If they want to challenge it in court and find some way to get it overturned, fine. We'll make that fight then. Otherwise, go screw yourselves and enjoy Chicago.
Even a more clear example, by the way. Let's can you, that last clip with Al Green, can you fast forward so we just have that? So we talked about Sweeney. It's like, we're opposing American Eagle. Why? Because they have a white supremacy. You know this isn't going to go anywhere. You know you're not going to be jailed. You know there'll be no consequences for your speech. Jesus Christ Superstar, let's make it a Nosferatu tranny and a gay guy. Look, Christians, aren't you offended? You know that no Christians are going to come blow you up. No. If you're crying out loud, if they're not blowing up abortion clinics in record numbers, you can count the amount of times that's ever happened pretty much on both hands. Very likely one, to be clear. You wouldn't have time to go through all the Islamically inspired attacks. Over 150 million people on Earth think that it's okay, or at least somewhat permissible, to kill Muslims for converting, or apostates, or for speaking out against the prophet. They're never going to do that. Same thing here. Oh, hey, we're fighting, we're championing for the people. Oh, really? As far as redistricting? It's so racist. It's so archaic. It's so very much like an episode of Roots or 10 Years a Slave. Was it 10 or 12 Years a Slave? 12 Years a Slave.
12 years.
That you are, by God, going to fight by running away to Illinois. Or then you look at Al Green. Yes, we are champions. We are champions. So just so you know that I'm willing to dig my heels in and fight, let me show you this picture of me protesting before, lifting my cane, where nothing really happened aside from someone telling me, you can't be lifting your cane and yelling out threats like that. But he wants you to think that he is Jesus Christ on the cross himself. Watch.
Is nothing more than an attempt to silence many of the voices.
An attempt to silence. The sign he brought literally says censored, not silenced.
It is racist.
No one silenced you.
You're still talking.
They let you do this. They're like, yeah, you want to bring a picture of what? Yeah, who freaking cares? They bring it in.
Yeah, but everybody's here to listen to that guy speak, and you're now speaking, and so we're going to ask you to either sit down or leave.
Yes.
That's all.
No one tried to silence you. No one tried to silence Cory Booker when he was talking for 72 hours and wearing a diaper.
No.
Please silence him.
But the left did try and silence, well, not just their political opposition, you. Remember the Department of Misinformation? Remember them working in concert with Meta, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, back then, Twitter, Microsoft, Apple. Remember that? Remember them wanting you to be on a watch list? Do you remember them, by the way? You remember them jailing and accusing people of treason who did nothing more than take a walking tour? They were invited in on the Capitol. I'm not even talking about the rabble-rousers. I'm talking about the people who actually were being given a tour by people that are Capitol security. They are the party of, hey, booting people, myself included, from campus for speaking. And by the way, espousing nothing more than basic bitch, pumpkin spice, conservative values. They are the party of silencing.
I mean, even in Congress, remember when Jamal Bowman silenced Congress by pulling a fire alarm?
Yeah.
Literally stopped it from happening.
Yeah. What consequences did he have to deal with? I don't remember.
He got censored.
Yeah, he got censored.
And he also didn't win his election. So, that's the icing on the cake.
Yeah. Well, he didn't win, but no one came in and checked for the ink on his hand.
Yeah.
Do they do that with fire alarms, or is that just if you still address it Nordstrom's?
There's multiple situations.
I don't know.
I've been inked a time or two.
I don't know.
They had videos, so they didn't have to go to Plan B.
Well, I don't know. But last time I went to Nordstrom Rack, I left looking like the Blue Man Group. It's a problem. I'm getting therapy for it. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube? You've probably noticed something is missing by now. I'm not here. That's because the Live Daily Show is now streaming exclusively on Rumble weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Tune in there, where nothing is censored.